Hey guys, it's Maymay, and today we're doing something fun. So, Shannon and I have decided we want to do a series where we take our favorite fun fold cards and our folios and we mix them together. And today is the first one of those. Today's is called Fun Fold Folio Squash Edition, and I'll explain that as we get going. I'm going to be using this super fun Snow Much Fun paper pack from Doodlebug. So, let's jump in. Starts like all of our other folios, okay, are very similar, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take one piece of 8.5 by 11. We're going to put it in our scoreboard on the 11-inch side. And when I say that, that means I just want the 11-inch at the top. And so your first score mark is 1.5. And then you're going to do 2.25. That's going to be your first set. Then we're going to come down here. Here you're going to do 8.25. And then 9. We're doing a 3/4 inch spine. We don't need bigger than that for this one. So I think this is going to work perfectly. Now, this is a little different than we normally do. You can see these score lines. Usually, you would have your spine fold here, and then you would do a single score. But we're doing our spine on the base. So both spines come from this one page. So if you're looking at it going, maybe this is not always how you do it, you're right. We are doing that slightly different. Then you need one piece that we're going to score in half on the 11-inch side at 5.5. Okay, that's all we need here. This is a simple one, so 5.5. All right, let's start assembling. So before we go to anything else, let's assemble this so it all makes sense. Okay, I want you to see what we're doing. So we're going to take this and I'm going to fold on all of our score lines, fold and crease. Do a little paper crafters calisthenics this morning, fold and crease and fold and crease. So this is what I meant by this piece is going to be both of our spines in one piece. Okay. All right, now what we're going to do is take that piece that we scored in half, and I want to fold it and crease it down. And this piece, we're going to glue here. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is this is your closure flap. It's the bigger, okay? The smaller is what we're going to glue together. And you'll notice that this is not as big as I usually do. We won't turn this into a pocket. We actually want the stability of this piece, so we want to use it to our advantage, okay? And I'm going to glue it from the inside. All right, so here's what I mean. I'm going to open this guy up. I'm going to apply my glue on the inside of this flap, and it's on the left-hand side of our spine fold. Okay, so we're not crossing over the spine. We're going right beside the spine. And I want to get that glue pretty close to the spine, just like that. Then we're going to take this piece that we just folded in half, and what I want to do is lay it down onto my folio into my into the crease, and then I'll push it in. So like I've got that there, I'm going to push this over, and I just want to make sure I'm lined up top and bottom. So just pushing that in just like that. And don't worry about this being on the front, this seam, because this is going to fold in like this. I'm not worried about that being on the front. The reason I'm not worried about that being on the front is because we're going to hide it with decorator paper anyway. So when we stand our spine up now and we stand this one up, this is what we're looking like. Now I want you to see this, okay? Because I don't want you to get confused. This is going to be about 1/4 inch shy. Do you see that? That's okay. That's what we're looking for. We still have plenty of room for our closure. That's just going to be a little shy. All right, so that is step one. That is the base of our folio. Now we're going to open this up, and inside of our spines, you can see how that's folded right there. In this section, we're going to build a fancy fold, okay? So this came from a card we saw on Pinterest, and it's really kind of cool. So now I want you to take another piece of 8.5 by 11, and I want you to put it into your trimmer where the 8.5 is the tall portion, and we're going to cut two pieces at 3.25. So you'll cut one piece at 3.25. So what you end up with is 3.25 by 8.5, and we want to do that twice. Now on this piece that you have here, what I want you to do is I want you to cut a strip that is 4 inches. Then we're going to turn it and cut 5 3/4. Now we're going to need this twice, but I wanted to go ahead and get this out of this piece while we were here. So we only have this little bit of leftover, and this goes straight into bin. We can use it later. All right, so I'm going to cut a second piece. I'm going to cut 4 inches off of here. Actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Instead of cutting it that way, I'm going to turn it this way. And I'm going to cut this down to 4, because if I cut it like this is enough to make a card base out of. So rather than cut across, I'm going to do it that way. And then here, I will cut this down to 5 3/4. So we get 2 of those. And then this is enough to mat a card base with. So we're good. We didn't waste anything or cut any tiny pieces. All right. So out of all of that rambling, let's talk about what we ended up with. 2 pieces, 3 1/4 by 8 1/2, and 2 pieces, 5 3/4 by 4. All right. We're going to use these. Before we head off, let's score these. And since I've got my trimmer here, I'll just do it this way. You're going to take these 2 pieces and you're going to score them 1/2 inch because we need to make a binding strip. So this is what we're going to glue this into our folio with. So I just scored 1/2 inch like so, and then 1/2 inch. I got to tell you guys, when I'm doing pieces like this, because you will always ask me, when do I use this score blade versus my other? You saw it in this video. With those full sheets that I don't need to cut anything, I pull out my scoreboard, right? But for this, if I'm already here and I just need to do that, I do it. And I'll tell you something else. I really think scoring 1/2 inch and less on this guy is easier than using my big scoreboard. So when you're making those smaller scores, it really is a good idea to use your trimmer. Okay, so let's fold and crease. On these, because of where I'm putting them, I'm going to fold them and crease them in both directions. I really want that to be pretty soft because I want this to flip open and back. So sometimes it's best to go ahead and do that. All right, let's head to the folio. So remember, we're not working on page 1 over here. We're working in the middle. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you and then we'll do it. I'm going to come in here and you see my spine. Let's open this up. You see my spine. This is part 1 spine, and there's the second section of it. We want to glue this down right inside of that spine, okay? So we want to leave our 3/4 spine open, and we're going to glue this just to the other side of our score mark. So I'm just going to add some glue. And then I'm just going to glue this down on the other side of that score mark, just making sure our spine is open. And I'll bring this up to camera and get it nice and tight so you can see it. This is definitely one of our folios that you need to watch before you get started because I think it all makes sense better as we get going. All right, so let's bring this up so you can see what we've done here. So we have our spine completely exposed, and then we've glued this piece just to the other side. And this piece is going to be part of our fancy fold. All right, this one, we're going to do the same thing, but on the other side. So we're not going to glue the spine. There's the spine, okay? We're going to glue it to this side of the spine. I know it's hard to see on this white paper, so that's why I'm working over to show y'all. All right, we're going to glue this one to the other side here. And this one, like I said, came from a card we saw on Pinterest. What they had created was 2 sentiment panels on the front. So they had taken a card base and they'd done this gate fold. Okay. I'm telling you this because I want you to be able to go out to Pinterest and see fancy folds and add them too. So they had taken this, but then they'd taken 2 pieces that were like sentiment strips and glued one at the top and one at the bottom. And this is how their card folded, was with this crossover situation. Okay. So that's what we're going to do here. So at the bottom, what I want to do is put this down and I want to put my hand, see where that page ends? I want to pick this up like this and apply my glue here because I know it's a safe place to apply it. Then this one is going to get glued to the front bottom right hand side. The reason I put this one here, I'll show you why in just a second. Let me get this glued on. The reason I put it here is because I feel like when you open a book, you open with this, or not really a book, but when you open like this, you feel like you should put your hands in and go like that. And I feel like that's the way to do it. If you would rather it open this way, just move this to this side. All right, now this one I'm going to put over here. So if you want it to open from this side, you'll want to glue over here. I know that was clear as mud, but I think it makes sense. All right, so let's look at this one. So what you've got is 2 photo spots. This opens up and reveals more area in the middle for decor, and you have a photo spot here and a large photo spot here. Those are going to be super cute when we get them all finished. Okay, so we've got this one laid out. I love how this turned out. All right, but let's go over here and do the squash part. Now, this comes from squash albums, but also I saw people adding squash elements to cards, and that's what we're going to do. We need to do a little work first, okay? Because of how this one lays out and because of how we're going to do magnets, we need to actually put our magnets down first before we do anything else. And our magnets need to live here, top and bottom. Okay, so let me show you how I did this. I'm going to take some of these guys. These are the smaller magnets, and I'm going to do a plus and a minus, obviously. And one is going to live up here, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then I'm going to do another plus and a minus. Now, you could do this with Velcro. You know, I told you that you could bring out Velcro if you'd like to, and you certainly can do it that way. But I do think it needs some sort of closure. I think it'll work better that way. All right, so we're going to put one down here and one down here. Now, all we're doing is keeping this middle section open because our squash album is going to live there. So I want you to put these about an inch from the top, maybe an inch and a quarter, and an inch and a quarter from the bottom, and leave yourself plenty of room to glue down your decorator paper, okay? This is not stressy. This is going to get hidden. You don't need specific measurements or anything. It's not a big deal. You just need to be kind of where I am. All right, I'm going to peel the backer off, just like so. Then what I like to do is take my pokey tool and just hold it onto the non-sticky side right now and use that to place this guy. So about an inch in, about an inch up. There's one. And let's do the bottom same way. And then about an inch up and about an inch in. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We just need them in this kind of area, okay? Now let's peel this backer off, and I'm going to close this page down and pick these up, and we're ready to do the next step. Now, when I close this down, something I want to do is I want to press this flat, okay, and press it, and let those kind of catch like that. That'll keep me from getting a really big bubble right here, okay, just by pressing that down as we go. So now when we pick these guys up, we have a good closure, all right? Now, I want to go ahead and cover these magnets. This is not the same for every folio, but this one in particular needs this kind of prep work, okay? So I'm going to cut 2 pieces of decorator paper to put down here to cover these guys up. And the size I'm going to need is 5 1/4 by 8 1/4. And we'll need that here and here. So I'm going to go to my paper pack, and I'm going to pick some cardstock. Now, here's the thing about the paper pack. See how it has kind of these busy pieces that sometimes we don't really know how to decorate? This is so cute to do this with, okay? So I'm going to use one of these kind of busy pieces, and I'm going to go ahead and get that one cut. Let me show you how to put it in your trimmer. Because I want to get both of my pieces from one piece, and I kind of want my pattern to be continuous, which it really doesn't matter with this pattern in particular, but if you're using something else that has like a pattern on it, you want it to continue under what we're doing. So I'm going to take this and turn it to the side, and I'm going to cut my height first. So I'm going to cut it to 8 1/4 first. If you guys hear the trimmer on the other side, that's Shannon. She's prepping some photo spots for me so we can film. We're trying to film the whole thing in one day for you guys. So that's why you hear that. So these we want to cut down to 5 1/4 because we have 5 1/2 inch flaps. So there's one. And then I'll do this one at 5 1/4. Now, again, if your pattern was continuous, mine is, but if it's like a floral pattern where you've got one floral to one side and it continues around like this, just make sure you lay these guys the way you cut them and you'll get your continuous pattern. Back to the book, what we're going to do here is we're going to glue this down. Now, here's another thing. You don't have to use this kind of fancy paper like I'm using, you know, the kind of the busy paper. You could use this side, but I think this is a great place to use these busier papers that we sometimes don't like everywhere else. So I'm going to glue these in and cover my magnets. And we placed our magnets plenty far enough in to be able to seal them in nice and tight. This is actually a very easy place to put your magnets. They go in real easy because you have a lot of room all the way around them for your glue. All right, that's one in. Let's do this side. Okay, so what we're going to do real quick is since I've got this covered, I'm going to go ahead and cover all of this as well. And I may even go ahead and get everything covered before we add our squash element. So let me tell you how I'm going to do that. I'm just going to run through and measure everything and take 1/4 inch off. So for example, if I want to cover this spine section in the middle, it's 3/4 inch. So I'll cut a piece that's 1/2 inch wide by 8 1/4 because that's 1/4 inch smaller than our height. And that'll sink in and get me that same mat that we got in this area. Okay. So every spot I'm going to cut a piece and cover it, and we'll get right back together. So let me show you where I'm at. I've covered these and this, okay? I've also covered this one spine, but the reason is I ended up having an offcut that was exactly the right size. I haven't covered this because we've got to add a magnet, so I'm leaving that alone. And I haven't done all of the front and back, but let me show you what I did. Because this piece was the exact right size when I cut the inside of this, I went ahead and glued that down. So I've got that done because I had the piece. So you can see here I cut part here and then I have the other part left. Okay. Over here, I have an idea. This particular paper pack comes with these little guys, which I adore, okay? Now, you could work these out and glue these down directly. You'd have to overlap them and things like that, but I've got an idea. I don't want to waste photo space, and I've got plenty of room in the spine to add a little bit more. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's start with this guy. I measured him, and he is, I have already forgotten, he is 8 by 3. So what I did for him, okay, is I cut a piece to go behind him. This piece is 8 1/4, okay, because I want the same mat top and bottom. But you'll notice that I cut it 3 3/4. That gives me my 1/8 of an inch here. I'll get it on this side, but now I can score a 1/2 an inch and make this a flappy fold like that, okay? So let's do that really quick. I'm going to come to my trimmer or my scoreboard, either one. My trimmer's right here, so we'll use it. And I'm going to just score this at 1/2 an inch. And what this will do is create for me the little flappy fold. I think it'll be super cute. Let me fold this down and crease it. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue one to the front and one to the back because I got multiples of this size cut apart. And what I love about them is they're perfect places for journaling for whatever your photos are inside of your album. So if you're doing like a winter day or maybe a winter event that you did with you and your family, this says favorite winter memories, and how cute will that be in the book? But I want to show you how we're going to put it in because I think that'll be cute too. Now, I not only did this one, I loved these guys, so I made myself the same pieces for them, okay? So it's a 1/4 inch bigger plus an extra 1/2 an inch on the side. So let me score these and get them glued. Okay, now let me show you what we're going to do here, how we're going to install these. So back to our folio and that inside page there, okay? What I've done here is I've cut a piece, but I want to show you because I think this matters. Instead of cutting this 5 1/4, which is what I would normally cut it, I cut it 5 1/8 to give me just a little bit of room, okay? Because what I want to do is I want to glue these little flaps underneath the page like that so they completely look seamless. And when this opens, you'll just see this where we can put more photos, okay? So I'm going to glue all this together before I glue it in. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply glue to this flap. And then I'm just going to, I'll slide that up so you can see. I'm just going to place this here. And it's the same height, which worked out perfectly with these little guys. So just check that and make sure that's in. I'm going to rub it with my bone folder. Get that good and flat. All right, and then these guys are going to have to overlap. So I did their fold on this side. And what I like is this one can go underneath. And you see how it's got the little house and the tree lined up? That worked out perfect. I actually picked the cut aparts to do that because I didn't want to have half a picture sticking out here. I thought this would be cute. Okay, so I'm going to glue it the same way. So I made 2 of these, and I just realized this because I didn't pre-measure, so I want to show you. This one is going to be a little too close to do them side by side, so you can overlap them, which will be fine because one will open and then the other will open if you want to do it that way. Or I think I'm just going to leave one off and just leave it like that. I think it'll be cute. So I'm just going to put one of these on. And then just slide this under, fold that over. I think that's super cute. Now we also, move that out of the way, we also can add more cut aparts inside of here, which I love. I've already got some cut. So we can put like this one. Look how cute that is. And then this one. Isn't that great? So we have lots of places to write things from the day. Just think about this. Somebody's going to say something funny or do something funny or something's going to happen that's a memory you want to keep from the day. And this will give you the place to write them without having to add any more bulk or anything else. This is the thing I love about Doodlebug and Simple Stories. And are they the only ones? I think they're the only ones who do these kinds of journaling spots. I love these things. Now, I'm not going to add any kind of magnet closure to these. I don't think they're going to need it. They're just little flip overs. I think they'll be fine like this. But now this is going to get glued right here. And isn't that cool to have another little feature? I think that'll be neat. And in here, we'll have photo spots. So even a little extra. All right, we got to get to the good part. We got to do our squash element. Here we go. All right, you guys, for this one, I want to show you something. The back of this page are these little strippy cut aparts, and I don't need all of these, okay? If I'm going to use any, it'll probably be some down here, but I need a piece that is 7 3/4 by 7 3/4, And I love this purple plaid. This is what I want to pop. So I'm going to use this piece. Now, if you're not comfortable doing your cut aparts, don't do that. Pick another page. But I don't want to waste them. And I know I won't use all of that. And look, I still have all of this. And I still have all of this that I can cut away and use. So I think I'm good. Okay. So 7 3/4 by 7 3/4. Now we need to do some scoring. Okay. Now you can do a couple things here. This guy is not an even number, and we need to fold him in half here and here. Okay. So I'm going to tell you that the score mark is 3 7/8. So you will do that here and here. But if you don't want to do that, just put it into your scoreboard or onto your table and just fold it in half. That will be fine to do it that way. But let me score it real quick. So 3 7/8. And we're going to go through the middle. Then I'm going to turn it and do it again. So we're kind of making a big plus mark. All right, because our photos are going to live in these quadrants we're creating. But I need to do one more thing. I need to do one diagonal score, but only one. Okay, so I'm going to put this onto the cut line of my trimmer. And then using my score tool, I'm kind of sinking it. Did you see how I laid it in the middle? With these points, it's better to kind of do that. And now what we've got, let's go ahead and fold them. Matter of fact, fold this one this way. You want to fold the front section. You want this fold to be up on the piece that's going to show with your photos. And this is where my photos are going to live here. So then we do that. And then we can just do our half and half folds. And you don't have to just get them started. We're going to crease it in a second. I'll show you when we're going to crease it all down. Just get your fold started. Line everything up square. Okay, now here's where the tricky part comes in, and it's not tricky. These points, what you're going to do is lay those down and then fold this on top. Okay, let me do it again. That's why we only score the one side. It makes it easier. Okay, so these points, you're going to lay them down and then squish. And now we'll crease. And here I want you to crease pretty good, especially at this little buckle here at the center. Crease that down really well. And since I've got those folds in there, I'm going to run through here like this for that center section. And you see it does pretty good. It gets pretty flat, but we don't really need it flat. You'll see. All right. Over here. Now this is the fun part. Okay. This little guy is going to live right here. Okay. So we're going to go to the center here. And I know this guy is 8.5. So I need to make a mark at 4 1/4. Doesn't have to be exact. You're just giving yourself a little reference point. Okay. Now what I want you to do, this is your fold and this is your open. Okay. The folded side gets glued inside just like this. Okay. You want to glue it just as tight to that fold as you can get it. All right. You want to push it up in there. So we're going to flip this over and I'm going to add glue to this square on the back. And I'm going to go back to that. Remember, keeping your open end out here, folded in here. I'm going to place it to my mark. And I'm just going to eyeball straight. And what I'm doing is looking up here and looking down here to try to get that straight. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it in there, okay? And then let's make sure this will fold. It does. And look, it just hides. I love that. And you see your magnets are holding it down. Okay, now what we need to do to make the squash element work is we're going to glue this. So we're going to apply glue back here. And then I'm just going to close this over and let the magnets catch. And then I'll press. And that'll catch that glue. This is my favorite part. Before I open it, before I reveal it, I'm going to glue my little strip right here. All right, you ready? Let's look at it. Look how cute that is. Now, here's what you can do here. You can add a photo spot here and here. And let me show you what those are going to look like. Okay, so this is what you'll put here for your photo. And Shannon cut these for us. What size are these?
3 5/8 by 3 5/8.
So in case you couldn't hear, because she's across the room, 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. And you'll put one here and you'll put one here for photo spots. And then here you can use your cute little ephemeras and things like that. Okay, so let's glue these in. They're super cute. So has anybody ever made a squash book? This is kind of how a squash book goes, but you use multiple of these pages to make the squash book. And to be honest with you, you may see me do that in one of these coming up, because after I did this, I thought, you know what? I could probably create a little small squash book and get even more. I don't know. I'll test it and see what it looks like. Trust me, we have been testing this one to get it all right and get the measurements right. But I'll test it. But it would be cool if we could have this open up and not just be one page of photos, but be multiple pages, because that's possible too. All right, so this guy will go like that, and then we'll come back and put some little ephemeras and stuff. But isn't that neat? It's just a cute little element. It does take up some space, but can't you see your grandkids going, oh, that's so cool how that does? And it feels like a pop-up element. And if you add little things that kind of come off the page here, they really pop up. We'll get to that too. All right, so let's look at where we're at. We've got these little guys. We've got space in here for photos, right? Then we go like this, and we've got space for photos here. And then I need to put a magnet in, and I feel like I can now, but I want to show you why I wanted to wait. Because this guy, let me get everything to close up. Because this guy is a little longer on this end than I need to really fold, it's best to go ahead and put all of your extra paper on top of your folio to get it more rigid before you do this. If you try to line your magnet up when it's not rigid, it kind of wants to buckle in or bow out, and it doesn't work the same. So what I'm going to do here is add a magnet to my flap. I'll add it out here. So what I want to be careful of is I want to make sure wherever I put my magnet here, I have room to glue my paper down on this side of it, okay? But I also have room to put it on to this guy, and I'm looking. Yes, that's going to do it. It's going to be close, but that'll do it. All right, so I'll peel off this backer. It's already kind of easy to get to there. And now when you close your magnet down, you want to stand him up and square your album up. So make sure before you squeeze him down, I'm just trying to get that to catch. There we go. Now I'll pick him up like this and then press him down. All right, so now we've got our little closure on. And then we open and we open. I think it's really cute. And I love these little guys. I think they're fun. And I think these are fun. All right, so I've got some photo mats made for here. Let's put those on as well. So these will go here, here, and on the back side. So I'm going to glue those in. Okay, so I've glued front and back ones on. Now I'm going to take more of them, just 2 more, and I'm going to glue these inside. So they'll be just inside of these whenever you open them up. And I think that'll be cute. So we'll get 6 photos in this center section. That's pretty good. Okay, so there's the inside, and this will close like this. Isn't this cute? Okay, over here, rather than make some more, let me tell you what we got. We had some 3x4s left from another project we did. I think I'm just going to place a couple of these in here to give me a little bit of something different. And I think they'll be cute and add some ephemera inside there. So let's do that. So now that I look at this, I feel certain I put this in upside down, but I don't think it matters. I think it still works. If it was another image, it might matter, but since it's a snowflake, I think it's fine. If that bothers you, make sure you flip it, because now that I pointed it out, it's going to bother somebody. All right, let's cover the front. So I put my little spine pieces down, and I'm going to use this for the front. I think this will be pretty. Not this side. We're using other, obviously, but it's the Christmas trees that I thought were so pretty. They're just not really Christmas trees. They're just trees. But this is not a page I would use. I wouldn't lean to this page very often. I think it'd be pretty to put it here on the front to give us a lot of movement on the front cover. Isn't that pretty? I love that page. And then back here, we're going to do a little plaid. Look how calico this looks. That's one thing I love whenever using paper packs. It all matches. It really doesn't matter how you line it up. It all matches. Let's see. All right, we got one more spot. So this was a happy accident. I was going to do this plaid, but Shannon cut this one for me, and look how cute that is. I'm going to do that. I think that will be precious right there to have the little houses running up the side. Now, my theory on this album is if you're someone who doesn't like the decorating too much, you're not comfortable with that, this is a good one. And here's why. There's not a whole lot of places you have to do any big decorating. Like here, this is mostly photos, right? The biggest element. This is easy. This is decorated for you. I'm going to add just a couple of pieces here, and I'm also going to add a couple to like this area, but this is going to be a really easy one if you're not good with the decorating, if you don't like adding all the ephemera. But let me grab some to add in here. Okay, you guys, I want to show you this. So these come from the packs that are called odds and ends. I have to remember what they call them. This is the odds and ends, and this is the chit chat packs. Okay, so the odds and ends are like these little pieces, and then the chit chats are little sayings like this one and this one. And I got to show you, I want to use this, but it's too big for where I want to use it. So we're just going to edit it. So I'm going to trim this down. I'll do it here. I'm going to trim this down and move my point to here. I'm going to pick all this up. None of this is glued down yet. So I can clean all that off. There we go. Where I want to put this little, what is this called? It's a gondola. I didn't even know what it was called, you guys. This little guy is so cute. I want him to be right here, okay? And then I'm thinking we put this little let it snow underneath him like this. That is so cute. You know you don't live in a snowy place when you're like, what is this called? It's a gondola. I think I would call it a ski lift, but it's not a ski lift, is it? It's a gondola. Gondola. I don't know. Those penguins. Shannon's over here looking through all of these and she is loving it. Show them how you got them. Show them in the camera.
Little flags.
Are they adorable? We just poured them out and just started playing with them. That's adorable. Okay, let's go over here. Here's what we want to do here. We love these little guys sledding on this little postage stamp. I think that's cute. And I think if I put this up here, kind of like it's stuck in the snow, I can put that one down here. The only thing I want to do is make sure when I put that little postage stamp down, I'm going to glue him where he doesn't cover up any of my photograph. I'll show you what I mean, because I don't want to glue him down onto the photo. I just want to glue him up here so we can still slide a photo under there. So just a little glue at the top. Adorable. Come on, that is so cute. All right, I loved this piece here. I think it fits so good together, and I like how much space it takes up. What I'm going to do is glue just down the center and leave the tops and bottoms open, or top and bottom open, so that we can slide a photo under and into this guy. So when we cut our pictures, we won't have glued that down. Then once we put our pictures in, if we want to come back and glue, you know, the H down and everything, we can. But look how cute that is. So cute. So that's the inside. Look how easy. Now let's do, I want to do this little flap. Did you find something? She's been digging. That's so cute. Look at this. Snow cones. That one kind of blends in. Let's try hot cocoa. That one's better. You can see that one better. This little purple house one. This is how we do it. Oh, look, the house pops. That house really pops, don't you think? Mm-hmm. Let's put the little house there. And if you want to put a little saying up here, we can. We've got some room above it. I was going to look on here and see if there was a word we might want to stick up there. Heartwarming. All right, so there's that one. So now we'll close this side. Let's do something here. You can't go wrong, you guys. Everything is so cute. You just pick it up and glue it down and it'll be cute. The little faces, their little expressions, they're so cute.
There's even a banner that says happy birthday.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
oh, and look, just for you. You can make cards out of these. We may have to, oh, this is cute. Look, this one says fun, of course. Now you'll see I've already got that one laid there. I know I love this one, and I'm going to put that one right there because it's a perfect spot, but we need something here. Oh, the tree. What can go at the bottom of the tree? I like the tree. We could layer trees. There's another tree.
There's another tree.
Oh, look at him sitting by the trees. Yeah, that's cute. Let's do that. You can't go wrong. Oh, that's cute. We won't show it. Let me show them because they're going to hear you making all those noises, and I'll see this is what she's talking about. She's over here freaking out, and y'all gonna be like, what is she looking at?
There's hundreds.
There literally are hundreds in there.
Hundreds.
All right, we'll close it up. So all that'll be a little sneaky peeks you'll get to see. Let's go in here. All right, guys, let me show you what I did. To test this to see if it'll work, I just put a little glue down here and then closed it. And see how he's not glued all the way, but he closes just fine. Look, they close just fine. So I'm going to take him now because I barely glued him. And I'm going to glue him for real. Just remember, don't glue where he sticks off the page. So we'll put him back. And he looks like he's skiing up the side. That's super cute. Now I want to do that same thing up here with these guys, I think. Maybe I'll have them skiing down because they'll fit in there. Perfect. That's cute. And they're kind of dimensional. And see, it still closes. No issue. That's good. All right, let's put something in here. Oh, that's a good one. We're going to put snow fun right there like he's saying it. All right, I'm going to put it's a beautiful day here like this little guy's saying it. And all I'm doing is like gluing and checking. Because I love how they're popping off the page. That's cute. All right, let's see what we can do over here. All right, so there's our little flip up. Super cute. I'm not going to add any more here. I think it's busy enough around the edges. Plus, when you add photos, it's going to be super busy. Here's this page. Let's close this guy up. Isn't that cute? Our 2 fun folds. And let's decide what we're putting on the cover. All right, you guys, because my cover is so busy, I struggled finding a lot of things I could add, but look how cute it is if we just do that. That's pretty cute, right? I like that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to glue this guy together, and then I'm going to put him on, and you could use him as your closure. I already have my magnet on, but if you wanted to, this could be where you put your magnet instead of where we did. But I didn't think about making my cover so busy. And honestly, I think this is it can be simple. This album can be simple. So I might glue him over to one side like that, or I could glue him into the middle like that. Don't know. I kind of like him to the side. Shannon says she does too. So if we put him like that, I'll have to put something behind him, but that's okay. I'll just do another cut apart. So let's come over here and see how much space I've got. One of these days, I'm going to do myself a favor and start with the cover. Shannon will start with the cover when we do folio. She'll start with it. I'm always doing it last, and it's always on me for doing it last. So I got that one there, and I think I could put another cut apart back here and be fine. See, that would work perfect, wouldn't it? And kind of close that up. Or you could put a picture back there. Plus, this is adding even more stability to it as it's hanging over the edge. So simple with some big impact because you got that little squash element. And I think this one turned out cute. All right, let's close it up. All right, so there's the front. We'll open it. Come inside. We have these pieces here. Cute, right? Then we have these pieces here, and they can go either way. And again, you could put a magnet here if you want. You could even, I could have put a ribbon under here and tied this. That would have been cute too. And then let's open this side. We spent a lot of time getting this guy worked out. So we didn't put a lot into this side. This was kind of something I did while I was decorating. But I love how that turned out. All right, you guys, tell me what you think. You like all the fancy folds, or the fun folds, I should say. I am going to add a piece of Velcro, but mostly because I want to show you. With Velcro, you don't hide it. You can't hide it, you know. So I'm going to cut a piece off of here. But I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm only going to cut half. I don't need all of this. So this is what, if you were on our live show last night, you'd have seen I told you that this is a good place. There's some places that are a good place to use Velcro because you can kind of save a little money because you can cut them apart. And so what I'll do is come inside of here, and just to kind of conceal it a tiny bit, I'm going to line it up with that image. So it'll go just like this. So you just have to make sure you put, you know, a fuzzy side and a rough side together. That's what makes it hold. So see, you really don't even see that there. And then I'll bring it back over here, and I'm going to line everything up again and press that down. And that'll just hold my little piece just a little extra hold, because I did kind of, you know, do that after the fact. Isn't that cute? But this way it's not flapping open or anything because my Velcro is holding it. All right, you guys, that's another one done. I love how it turned out. I really love the squash element, but I have to be honest, I think the whole thing turned out super cute. But what a neat thing. Like, this seems like you wouldn't have something like this in here, so you just keep opening and finding cool stuff. All right, I cannot wait to see yours. You know, I like to see whenever you guys are making some of the albums that we show you. So be sure to share your creation with us at our customer gallery at maymaymadeit.com. And until next time, guys, bye now.